South Africa, Bafana Bafana. Bafana Bafana's fight for destiny. A nation that refuses to stop believing. Welcome back to Ballafrica, the podcast where African football is more than a game. It's history, it's identity, it's resilience, and above all, it's hope and the pride of African people. Today, we journey to the southern tip of the African continent, a nation whose football story is unlike any other, a nation that has experienced exclusion and isolation, a nation that used football as a symbol of unity and healing, a nation whose supporters never stop singing, never stop believing, and never stop dreaming. Today, we tell the story of South Africa, Bafana Bafana, the boys. And as we prepare this episode, South Africa finds itself in a critical moment in its World Cup campaign. After suffering a disappointing opening defeat against Mexico, many wondered whether Bafana Bafana's tournament would end before it truly really began. Then came the response. Then came the fight. Then came the comeback against Czechia. A resolve that breathed life back into South Africa's World Cup dream. Now, everything comes down to one final showdown against South Korea. 90 minutes, one opportunity, one nation holding its breath. Let's talk about football and freedom in South Africa. To understand South Africa's football, you must understand South Africa's history. For decades, the nation endured apartheid, a system that divided people and isolated the country from much of the international sporting world. South Africa was banned from international football competitions. Generations of talented players were denied the opportunity to compete on the global stage. Yet, football survived. Football became a source of hope, a source of resistance, a source of unity. When democracy finally arrived, football became one of the symbols of the new South Africa, a nation determined to reintroduce and reinvent itself to the world. The return of the Bafana Bafana. In 1992, South Africa returned to international football. The excitement was enormous. The pride was overwhelming. And only a few years later came one of the greatest moments in African football history. AFCON 1996, hosted in South Africa. Against all expectations, Bafana Bafana lifted the African Cup of Nations trophy. The country erupted. It was more than a football victory. It was a celebration of national renewal, a symbol that South Africa had truly arrived. For many supporters, that moment remains the golden standard of South African football. South Africa, just like every nation, has a World Cup dream. South Africa's journey has produced memorable moments. The nation qualified for multiple World Cups. And in 2010, history was made. South Africa became the first African nation to host the FIFA World Cup. The sound of the vuvuzelas echoed across the globe. The world came to Africa. The world came to South Africa. We remember the opening match against Mexico with that historic strike from Sifiwe Tshabalala that ended in a 1-1 tie. And of course, who forgets the stylish dance from the boys? While Bafana Bafana narrowly missed advancing to the knockout rounds, the tournament left a lasting legacy. It demonstrated Africa's ability to host world biggest sporting events, and it inspired millions of young footballers. Years of struggle have also entangled South Africa. Yet, success has not always come easily. There have been painful qualification failures, near misses, disappointments, questions about the direction of South Africa's football. Many supporters wonder when Bafana Bafana would return to the world stage. But throughout the difficult years, one thing never disappeared: hope. The belief that South Africa would rise again. The belief that another generation would carry the nation's flag and move forward. What about the road to this World Cup? This qualification campaign demanded resilience. South Africa faced pressure from every direction. Critics questioned whether they could return to Africa's biggest stage. The players responded. Match after match, challenge after challenge, they fought their way through one of the toughest qualification processes in the world. When qualifications was secure, it was more than belief. It was validation. Bafana Bafana were back. The current World Cup journey has been a little challenging. The opening match against Mexico was painful. A defeat, a setback, a reminder of how unforgiving World Cup football can be. Suddenly, South Africa's margin for error has disappeared. Many teams crumbled in this situation. Many teams lose confidence. But Bafana Bafana chose a different path. Against Czechia, they showed courage. They showed character. Most importantly, they showed belief. Falling behind would have broken many teams. Instead, South Africa refused to quit. thanks to the leadership and goal from Teboho Mokoena of Mamelodi Sundowns. They earned a crucial result that reignited their campaign and reminded everyone why football remains unpredictable. That comeback wasn't just about points. It was about identity. It was South Africa saying, we are still here. Here are the key players to think about with South Africa. Percy Tau, the face of South African football. Creative, intelligent, capable of producing moments of magic. When South Africa needs inspiration, they look to Percy for that inspiration. Teboho Mokoena, the engine of the midfield, a player who combines leadership, work ethics, and technical quality. His influence often determines South Africa's rhythm. Ronwen Williams, one of Africa's finest goalkeepers, a leader, a captain, a player who has repeatedly delivered when the pressure is highest. His experience and maturity. He just said, let politicians do politics and let footballers play football. Lyle Foster Young, fearless, hungry, a player capable of changing games within moments and finishing. The match that defines everything. And now we arrive at the moment that matters the most. South Africa versus South Korea. Everything is on the line. Progression, pride, history. The dream of reaching the knockout stages, win, and Bafana Bafana could complete one of the great World Cup recoveries. Draw, they may still need help depending on other results. Lose, the journey could come to an end. This is why we love football, because sometimes an entire nation's hopes are carried into a single match, a single 90 minutes, a single opportunity. So what should we expect? South Africa enters the match with momentum. The comeback against Czechia restored belief, restored confidence, restored hope. But South Korea's presence is a difficult challenge. They are disciplined, organized, dangerous. Bafana Bafana will need courage, patience, and clinical finishing. If they play with the same determination they showed in their comeback, they have every reason to believe. Here's my message to the boys, Bafana Bafana. To the players representing South Africa, remember those who came before you. Remember the pioneers who fought for your right to wear this jersey. Remember the champions of 1996. Remember the millions watching from Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, Pretoria, Soweto, and beyond. Remember that football has always meant something special in South Africa. You carry more than expectations. You carry history. You carry pride. You carry hope. Now, go write your own chapter and unify a continent. South Africa's story has never been simple. It has been a story of struggle, a story of resilience, a story of belief. And now, another chapter awaits after defeat against Mexico and comeback with Czechia. After doubt came hope. South Africa versus South Korea. Everything on the line. Can Bafana Bafana complete the comeback and reach the knockout stage? Or will the dream end here? The answer is only 90 minutes away. One match, one opportunity, one dream. Can Bafana Bafana keep their World Cup journey alive? The nation is waiting. Africa is waiting. And history is waiting. I am Easy Lisi. And this is Ballafrica. Until next time, keep believing in African football, because sometimes the greatest victories come after the hardest setback. Sela, Sentel, Amba, Gali.